Starting with Division 3, more new drivers here to make their mark. Coming up on the first corner, Yuma braked late and only just managed to avoid slamming into Barbosa to bump into Infinite instead. Overall, it was a clean start, but with a light tap on newcomer Akai as he went around the outside. Akai challenged VC Most for third and pulled it off with the sheer grunt of his Mustang, getting smoothly around Andretti Hairpin without losing any time to Infinite in the Ferrari ahead, but with Edward far away. During the mid-race round of pit stops, Edward pressed ahead for another lap, having made his fuel last very well. He came in for his pit stop at the end of lap 15 for a fresh change of tyres far ahead of the competition. But either from driver error or some technical problem, he was sent out of the pits without having refueled. Infinite must have been gritting his teeth for a hopeless chase, or maybe just puzzled at the brief stop by Edward. Once Edward came in again the following lap, just for enough fuel to last the remaining 12 laps, Infinite realised what was up. Now he only had Akai to worry about, hot on his heels. Edward got out just in time to catch VC Most's Slipstream, still in the running for good points, but only just. VC had made some errors and was off balance, and hit the high-profile curb at the apex of Turn 4, slipped on the exit curb, and was speared back into the road. Edward judged his reaction and perfectly rocketed past. Akai continued to pursue Infinite, getting a little closer on each lap, giving tireless chase. On lap 22 they were very close indeed, and Infinite had to start driving defensively. He went around turn 11 and went to hold a defensive inside line with the hope of also depriving Akai of slipstream, and the Malaysian driver persisted. In the race to Andretti Hairpin, Infinite just had the right positioning to hold on to the inside, keeping the lead. 5 more laps of pursuit, and then on the last lap Akai made a desperate bid to be first to the corkscrew. But Infinite had the inside there as well, and there was nothing Akai could do but catch up and hope for Infinite to slip up. Not a hope. Infinite took the checkered flag with Akai a close second, and Edward just getting around the final corner in time to witness the moment before finishing third. For the second partition of Division 3, it was a superb start for RVE, Prozac and Beatitiz. Prozac drove recklessly and hit Beatitiz right off the road, giving RVE a clear run to blaze ahead. It was a modest but important lead, with the trio of MPL, Sirsan and Prozac bunched up behind, losing time as they fought for second. Benop, Bizzle and Mr. Person caught up, and they finished lap 1 in procession. Vinci Mooch still on the grid. Well, that was a network problem. He was apparently duking it out with these guys in the upper midfield, and would go on to finish in 5th place. Prozac was showing stronger pace than Sirsan, but was struggling to find a way past. And then, just like that, the situation opened up, when MPL went wide on the exit of Turn 10, only just managing to keep it together well enough to rejoin the track and hold the inside against Benop. On lap 10, the first of the pit stops, with Prozac coming in on what was looking like a very aggressive 2-stop strategy. The next few laps he was making it back up through the midfield, pursuing Benop until he made a critical error at the very challenging rainy curve. Up ahead, MPL and Bizzle were duelling for third, with Bizzle just keeping the upper hand. After all the mid-race pit stops, Prozac was in the lead, with Beatitiz and RVE fighting for second. At Andretti Hairpin, RVE neatly slipped through the inside and Beatitiz tried to nose into the inside on the following turn, but was just too late. He was also on a 2-stop strategy like his teammate, and fuel was running low. Sure enough, he pitted, and on lap 20, so did Prozac. And this was to be the moment of truth as RVE came round to complete the lap and pass Prozac, whose pit crew no doubt were feeling immense pressure to perform. RVE got clean away and Sirsan also got through, but on fresh tyres Prozac had a good 8 laps to catch and pass. It was a straightforward run for RVE, who worked hard nonetheless and finished first with tyres barely holding up, and Prozac came second. Beatitiz on his fresher tyres also caught up with Sirsan as the latter was paying off some penalty time, and handily passed him by to claim third. The Division 2 pack came in thick and fast. Something had to give, and Neutron nudged Fives into a spin. Fernando tried to avoid it and bumped Tokyo. The whole situation spread out the pack and enabled GUI to run ahead, with a fight for third developing between Bruno, Tusho and Barrels. Belvica and Neutron were just a little behind with Arrowhead, and although Belvica was let past by his teammate, he later fell behind. Bruno and Tusho both lost it at turn 5, and Barrels took advantage, making it up to second place. By the beginning of the following lap, DJ was all over Barrels' back and Barrels opted for a wide line into Andretti. Too wide. DJ handily took his place. Barrels went for the cutback to counter it, but no luck. Just behind them, Bruno was fending off against Tusho, but the latter got a much better line around turn 5. And when Barrels had another precarious flirtation with the trackside dust a lap later, seized the opportunity to pass. Bruno also got by, the ailing Renegade now down to 5th. But what a surprise when GUI took too much off the exit curb and smacked into the wall. DJ inherited the lead, and for GUI it looked like game over. Meanwhile, Belvica was clawing back places, overtaking Fernando on lap 8 to take 7th, although he was far behind the leading pack. Here, Arrowhead got a great exit on the final corner relative to Fives, and he squeezed past, tightly but neatly. It took Fives another lap to exact revenge, beautifully skidding his Honda around that turn 6 kink for a better exit and powering past the bewildered Arrowhead, sliding a little bit on the entry to the corkscrew. DJ and Tusho came in a lap early, hoping for an undercut advantage, and after the first round of pit stops, it was Tokyo on medium tyres, still out and in the lead, but due for a pit stop, and at a relatively slow pace. Toward the closing stages of the race, Fives had pulled off another good exit from turn 6 and Tusho was defending. They made a slight contact and Tusho went off balance, sliding right across the corkscrew and falling back, and Barrels was closing into strike, but although he got very close, couldn't make a pass. Fives caught up to his teammate DJ. No team orders at Phoenix for this race, with the two of them fighting vigorously for the lead, swapping positions, with Fives securing the win and DJ finishing second. Tusho came in for a hard-fought third place, with Barrels hounding him to the end. And at last, Division 1. Holman, who started in Division 2, starting third and jumps the start, and so do single filer and JL. Cars 5 wide as they try to avoid running into each other, just sorting out before the hairpin. Ismatilek dove down the inside to grab third. Storm and Fulmus fought for 5th, with Fulmus going wide and losing it. Felix and Darkrai took advantage of the chaos to get some way ahead very rapidly, with Dr. LJ isolated in third. Holman had recovered impressively and was leading the midfield. In lap 2, Judoka and JL were fighting for 7th. JL was covering for previous champion Nova, so there was pressure to do well. Round the outside, kicked up some dust but secured the pass. Next was Bonjour Storm, and JL was able to overtake when the Frenchman took turn 6 a little wide. And what the blazes did Ismatilek just do? Well, there's no time to think, only time to react, and we can see JL and LJ dancing with death down the crazy corkscrew. JL won and nicely slipped past Single Filer, who was paying off a penalty. Nice work from JL, and behind Dr. LJ, managed to squeeze past Single Filer on turn 11. But Single Filer found a bit more straight line grunt and managed to hold the DNA Doctor back. Far ahead, Darkrai was obstinately refusing to engage in a duel with Felix, gaining quite a fuel-saving advantage by remaining behind in his Honda, a nippy car but lacking top-end speed. Eventually, Felix paid off a penalty and Darkrai tried not overtaking, but it didn't work, so he overtook anyway. He made it work well enough, and when they both came into pit on lap 14, Darkrai needed far less additional fuel and came out well ahead. The closing stages of the race were straightforward for the most part, but Fulmus was making a late bid for 9th by attacking Storm, and on lap 26 he finally took his shot. It was neck and neck all the way down the corkscrew, around Rainy Curve, and up to turn 10. But Storm had held the Kinetic driver off for long enough to close the door, and there wasn't anything Fullness could do about it. Darkrai was the winner by a good stretch, with Felix second, and Holman finishing as he had started, in third. Well, let's see where we are after 2 rounds. After pursuing an opportunistic strategy here, Darkrai has secured a solid lead over Nova, represented today by JL, and only 2 points behind fellow VLX driver Hueso of Australia. It's a close situation from there all the way down to 10th in the standings. Curiously, X11 requested to be moved down to D2 rather than being relegated, with Babbles moving up as a result. 4 drivers in Division 2 are all tied at 74 points, so we can expect a lot of movement there. In Division 3, the one to beat is Prozac, but he's up against some determined opposition, and I have to say it's great to see drivers from all over the world, even Brazil, Malaysia, the Philippines, even such exotic faraway lands as Canada. Well, thank you all for watching, and keep an eye out for round 3 at Autopolis in Japan. Take care everyone.